Today on Chainlinked, Chainlink Labs Harry Papacharissiou will give us an overview of the team's recent smart contract bootcamp and the developer track at SmartCon. Plus, I'll talk to Ava Labs lead smart contract developer Connor Daly about the recent Chainlink integration on Avalanche and what it means for DeFi on Avalanche. Chainlinked is a pocket-sized podcast series looking at the many applications of Chainlink blockchain oracles across global enterprise, the blockchain industry, and emerging tech projects. We'll break down the news and frame Chainlink technical innovations and integrations for any listener. My name's Dr. Andy Boyan. You can call me Andy, and I'll be your host. The Chainlink Labs team has a pretty big focus on educating smart contract developers, as well as developers who are new to the Web3 stack. So I've brought developer relations team member from Chainlink Labs, Harry Papacharissiou, on to talk about a recent event, the Smart Contract Developer Bootcamp, and the SmartCon developer track that you all just saw a couple of days ago. Hey, Harry, how you doing, man?
Hey, Andy, how's it going?
It's going good. It's nice to talk to you. I haven't talked to you in a little while.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
I first met you because of Link My Ride, which you did as a hackathon project, right?
That's right. Yep, Link My Ride.
And that was before you worked for Chainlink Labs at all, but then you worked your way into the system and now you're a major part of what we do, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I was actually in the middle of being approached by Chainlink while I was doing that hackathon submission, actually. So I was really hoping that I did well in the hackathon because I knew I would be, joining the content team. And yeah, here I am today now.
Well, and then you won the hackathon. So that, of course, did it. If anybody hasn't seen Link My Ride, it's so cool. It's a connection to on-chain dApp to Tesla's API. So you can control your Tesla with transactions on-chain, unlocking the door and getting it started, remote start, and all sorts of cool things. Google it. It's a really awesome thing. And people remember that. You just got a comment about it. I saw somebody from the bootcamp, which is what I wanted to talk to you about. So tell us about the Developer Bootcamp. What is it?
Sure. So the Smart Contract Developer Bootcamp, it's an intense 8 to 9 hour session that we created, split across 2 or 3 days, depending on if you sign up for a weekday or a weekend track. We ran it across 2 separate tracks. And basically, it's a coding bootcamp to teach developers smart contracts and to teach them how to use Chainlink in their smart contracts. So we wanted to teach them what smart contracts are and why they're so awesome compared to digital agreements. We wanted to teach them about Ethereum and Solidity, which is the most popular smart contract language right now, and to get them some real hands-on experience in using Hardhat and Brownie, which are 2 of the most popular EVM-based development environments going around right now. So cool. In addition to that, we wanted to teach them about Chainlink and how you can use Chainlink to create hybrid smart contracts that enable you to do all kinds of cool things with, external data, computation, and randomness as well.
What is the incoming experience level? Do you need to have developer experience? You need to know how to pull a Git repo, or is it 0? Where do we start?
We targeted the bootcamp to non-blockchain developers who are interested in smart contracts and learning about coding smart contracts and things like that. However, we tried to make the content as inclusive as possible for newcomers as well. And we actually saw that we had a real mix of participants. We had people come in that were completely new to development or very early on in their developer journey that were really curious about smart contracts and Chainlink. And we had a few of those, and that was really cool. And we also had some full-blown architects and engineers from big tech companies like Google and Amazon come in and join and learn as well. Cool. So that was really cool too.
That's awesome. What are some of the things that people take away at the end? Is it a finished project, or is it now they're ready to start a project for the next hackathon? What's kind of that end game there?
I think one of the most important things we wanted to teach, apart from how to write smart contracts and how to create smart contracts that use Chainlink, is just some education in the why. Why do you want to create smart contracts? Why are smart contracts so awesome compared to traditional digital agreements? And then we wanted to give them a very good base kind of level introduction to smart contracts and how to create smart contracts in Solidity, as well as give them the kind of muscle memory and experience in doing things in these development environments such as Remix and Hardhat, and doing all of the kinds of things that a normal smart contract developer would be doing every day. So writing tests, executing scripts, deploying contracts to a public test network, deploying contracts to a local network, and kind of give them a real sense of the types of things that smart contract developers do, which is kind of different to what traditional developers may do, because in the end, smart contract development is very different to, say, writing something in Java or C++ or something like that.
The SmartCon developer track is a part of SmartCon this year. Can you tell us about any sessions that people who are interested in some of these technical elements should go take a look at, or look back on at the YouTube the week after it's over?
Sure. So the SmartCon developer track is something that I'm personally really excited about, and I know the whole DevRel team as well. This is the first time we're going to be having a specific developer track in SmartCon, and there's going to be a whole bunch of awesome stuff, such as what's new in Chainlink and some of the tools that people may use in smart contract development as well, what's new in Truffle, Alchemy, and things like that. I'm going to be talking about building secure smart contracts. So that's something I'm very passionate about. So if developers are interested in learning about some of the things you can do to ensure your smart contracts have a high level of security, then definitely check that out. And in addition to that, there's a couple of cool sessions which I think look really interesting as well. So tips for smart contract productivity. And also Zach from the DevRel team will be talking about how to become a smart contract developer. So building on some of the things we talked about and went through in the bootcamp.
Harry, it's been awesome talking to you, man.
Yeah, it's been awesome talking to you too.
I appreciate you staying up late and hanging out with us.
That's okay.
Next time you do another boot camp or there's a hackathon, have you back on and we'll talk some more, because I want an excuse to talk to you. I like hanging out.
Would love to. Thanks, Andy.
Yeah, take care, man. When a smart contract platform integrates Chainlink natively, it makes it easier for projects that need oracles to get access to data and off-chain computation. So recently, Avalanche Labs announced that Chainlink Price oracles are now native and live on the Avalanche mainnet. So I brought lead smart contract developer Connor Daly on to talk about how this impacts projects building on Avalanche. Hey, Connor, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Andy?
I'm doing fantastic. You got all your cats put where they need to be?
It was a struggle. The girls had to go away a little bit earlier than they're used to, but we were able to make it work. So hopefully there won't be any yowls in the background today.
I may do a recurring segment on Connor's cat situation because it is complicated and fascinating for those of us in the complicated and fascinating industry. The big news is Avalanche has live mainnet Chainlink nodes that are available now. So for somebody relatively early in their DeFi exploration, what does that mean?
Yeah, so smart contracts have this problem that is kind of like inherent to the whole ecosystem, whether you're on Ethereum or Avalanche or wherever, is that all of the data in smart contracts needs to come from the blockchain itself. And it can't come out from the wider internet because people have different views of the internet and they might not always come to the same conclusion. So we need these oracles to provide us the on-chain version of all of this external data. And so that's really where Chainlink comes in. It greatly expands the ability of smart contracts to reach out into the wider world and pull in any kind of data you could imagine. And the most popular data service that Chainlink provides is Price Feeds, and allows to get real US dollar or foreign currency prices for entire variety of assets. You could have other cryptocurrencies get their market price, or stocks, or anything else. And that data really isn't just limited to Price Feeds. It could be sports data, really anything that you could imagine.
So what are projects doing now? This is for developers, really. Like once they're building apps now on Avalanche, now they can get Chainlink data. So what does this mean for those apps?
Well, this means that they can get going, because previous to this integration, we had no native Oracle service live on Avalanche. So any service that actually relied on an Oracle, we had to tell them, we're sorry, you can't launch yet. There's a missing piece. So this is actually just unlocking a new set of Lego bricks that can be used to build the DeFi ecosystem on Avalanche. So it's a huge milestone for us.
I mean, there was DeFi before this, like the Pangolin DEX, for example. There's still decentralized exchange, but that one doesn't need a native Oracle, so they could build it. But then other stuff like lending protocols, things like that, those, I don't think those are on Avalanche really yet, or they haven't been, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Any app that requires very specific pricing information that could be manipulated by something like a flash loan needs a more secure source of information. And so lending protocols have had to wait, which is something that is one of the most important pieces of any DeFi ecosystem, regardless of what chain you're on.
I'm excited if we see that on Avalanche, right? To see kind of who leads the charge on that and what other projects. Are projects like coming over from Ethereum to Avalanche? Or are there new projects? What are you seeing more of?
We definitely have a mixture. But now that we've been able to create some proof of concepts, like to bring real value to Avalanche and show that our platform is capable of what we advertise, we're seeing a lot more partners being interested in migrating over to us. And so we have a lot of new integrations where things like Tether, USDT is going to be native on Avalanche, USDC is going to be native on Avalanche. And we have some of these stable coins coming over in addition to, a bunch of apps as well.
So a lot of the places where apps are coming from are blockchains as smart contract platforms, but Avalanche isn't quite a blockchain, right? It's something different. It's still a smart contract platform, so you can think about it in terms of a Binance Smart Chain or Ethereum or Polygon, but how is it different?
So Avalanche differs from something like Ethereum because we're not just a blockchain. We're a blockchain of blockchains. We are actually not even a layer 1. We're actually kind of a layer 0. We're the hypervisor at the root of all things. And we basically are a platform that is taking advantage of breakthroughs in distributed systems and consensus algorithms to kind of leverage our new Avalanche consensus algorithm, which is faster and more performant and more decentralized than any other consensus algorithm out there, to create a platform where anyone can build their own blockchain and take advantage of the best characteristics of Avalanche consensus. So one of the blockchains currently running on our system is our C chain, which is our smart contract chain, which is a fork of the Ethereum virtual machine that runs Solidity smart contracts just like you'd expect on Binance, Ethereum, or any of your other favorite EVM clones. But we also have something like our X chain, which is a UTXO-based payment system, which is similar to like Bitcoin. And we have a platform chain, and we also are providing capabilities for other users to build their own blockchain on our platform. And so, for example, we have disclosed that Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, we're working on a port of their virtual machines so that you can run Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash on Avalanche in the future.
Whoa. Is that what subnets are?
Yes. Subnets are the ability for anyone to define basically, how transactions are processed on their specific blockchain and who can be a validator on that blockchain. And so what's cool about that is that the validators don't necessarily have to be public. You could actually create private blockchains on Avalanche as well. So there used to be a lot of excitement for corporate blockchains, but a lot of these projects would run into issues where we have all this corporate data that we want to put on chain, but we don't necessarily feel comfortable letting everyone in the world be a validator. And so Avalanche creates a lot of scenarios where you can actually say, I'm going to create a new blockchain just for our company that uses Avalanche consensus, but the validator set is strictly limited to the people that the company whitelists. Or we restrict it to just US citizens for our government-backed stablecoin or something like that.
You guys have a lot of nodes too, right?
Yeah. We just crossed over 1,000 validators a couple of weeks ago. And so this is something that's really cool about Avalanche. On Avalanche, you can actually participate in consensus and be a validator with a Raspberry Pi, which is, for anybody that doesn't know, a commodity computer that costs $30.
I think John Wu said there are hundreds of DeFi projects waiting to build on Avalanche once that Chainlink feeds went live. So how do you get to that number? Like, how are there so many waiting? And then what are they waiting for? And what are they building?
Our BD team just goes nonstop. First of all, they're some of the most talented folks in the business. They are just constantly reaching out to new projects that are trying to build on Avalanche. And we encourage everyone that wants to build on Avalanche to reach out to us because we try to make sure that we give you the support that you need to get your project to market. And so because we have so many communications with all the projects building on our ecosystem, we know what people's pain points are, and we try to eliminate them as much as possible. And the one we didn't have so much control over at the time was oracles. And so we were trying to do our best to make this integration with the Chainlink happen. And now that it has, that's just a huge unblocker for so much of the ecosystem. So I think the first thing that we're going to see is that lending platforms are going to be coming very shortly. There is a community-run project called Benki Finance that is a lending protocol, I think similar to Aave, that will be coming very soon. I don't have any specific dates there, but I know that was the one blocker that they were waiting for was the oracles. Now that the oracles are live, I imagine we'll be seeing that pretty shortly.
Yeah, I know they announced that they are going to use Chainlink, and I've just been waiting on that one.
I do know that I do have projects requesting ETF data feeds to work on some more advanced trading platforms using ETFs as assets. And I will say Ava Labs' mission, our mission as a company, is to digitize the trillions of dollars of every kind of financial asset that's available. And so we're hoping to use these price feeds to do things like synthetics, to bring real estate into tokenized form, to just take every type of asset. And so oracles are a huge part of that because real estate does not exist on chain. So by definition, oracles are going to be a prerequisite for many of these other things. They'll probably be used in ILOs as well. And there's so many apps that are going to be coming soon. And if you're interested in learning more about smart contract development, I would recommend following me on Twitter at DAS_Connor, DAS_CONNOR. I actually write about building in crypto and becoming a smart contract developer, very much aimed at intro people who are trying to learn more about the space. So yeah.
Awesome. I just followed you, so I will keep track on that. Hey, man, I really appreciate you coming on and sending your cats to their various universes so you can come and chat with us. Will you come back and hang out with me again sometime?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'll keep track of your Twitter and I'll keep track of the stuff going on Avalanche, and we'll follow you on DAS_Connor. Is that right?
Yep.
All right. Thanks for coming on, man.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye. That's episode 2. I really appreciate the community support for the podcast so far and all your kind words about SmartCon. It was an amazing experience to be part of it and see your vibrant comments in chat and on social for 3 solid days. So thank you for watching, listening, and doing your part to grow the Chainlink community. Now you can help me spread Chainlinked to even more people. Subscribe, rate, review, and share this podcast. It helps the algorithm spread Chainlink and the Chainlink ecosystem to more crypto-curious people. Next, follow me and Chainlink Today on Twitter. I'm at Andy Boyan, and you can get updates on the podcast at Chainlink Today, our friends helping distribute the podcast. The talks, panels, workshops, and AMAs from SmartCon are going up on the Chainlink official YouTube as we speak. So head there now to queue up the talks that you couldn't catch live, or to review some of the amazing announcements and keynotes that you want to watch twice. If there's something that's not there yet, just wait a few days and everything will get uploaded soon. Finally, join the official Chainlink Discord and Telegram communities. Many community members, including myself, hang out there, so you can chat with me about what you want to hear more of on the next Chainlinked. Again, thanks for supporting the podcast by listening, and I'll catch you next time.